You're listening to the Weekend Collective podcast from News Talk ZB.
Higher power prices have hit the headlines lately. Wholesale energy prices are the highest since October 2018. The hydro lake levels are at 32%, which is actually a little less than half of normal, so there's not much relief in sight at the moment. Associate Energy Minister Shane Jones has accused the big power companies of profiteering. He's not on his own. There was an economist who described the power companies as operating as a cartel, and Shane Jones is with me now. Good afternoon.
Hey, g'day.
G'day. So, don't we just need more rain?
Well, at any point in time when we don't have enough rain or an inflow into our hydro capacity, then generally speaking, we're 1,000 megawatts short of power in New Zealand. This is not the first year in my lifetime that it has not rained. And the deeper problem is that since we had the famous Max Bradford reforms, and we have just not seen the gentailers create enough additional capacity, because I judge these things not on the profit of the gentailers, not on the sophistication of the economic models that were contemplated in 1996. I judge these things on what's the impact on consumers in 2023, 24, 25, 26, what's the impact on industry at this particular point in time. When we're embarking upon electrification, we've got ongoing challenges about volatile weather and climate change. That's why I've been calling for a deep dive into the rules and regulations governing the electricity wholesale market, because at the end of the day, markets are about rules and regulations. They are always guardrails, and it's time that we looked into these guardrails with a clean pair of hands to ensure that we can continue to maintain businesses in regional New Zealand and they won't be driven out of existence by extortionate power prices.
Yeah, because it does raise a question as to who is to blame. Are the gentailers simply behaving in a way that they are unable to because the system's been set up to fail in that respect?
Well, my colleague, Minister Simeon, he has got the various authorities and officials looking in as to why do we have these specific power prices. But look, I'm no Bambi on this. Of course, we're short of gas, and a lot of the gas goes to Methanex, a major employer in Taranaki. Yep. Todd is no longer selling as much gas as it did to Methanex. As you know, or you probably don't know, but there's been a court case. And we can try and explore for more geothermal energy. We can generate more heat, solar. But I've got to tell you, mate, this has been around for 6 to 9 years now. And for the gentailers to say, oh, we're doing lots of investment, actually they're not. The system is geared in such a way where there is scarcity, there is an opportunity for extortionate prices. And I'm astounded that little old New Zealand has the most expensive power prices in the world as of last week.
Well, you're not on your own with your criticisms, because Victoria University economist Jeff Bertram described the companies as operating as a cartel. I guess that's just, you'd agree with that, wouldn't you?
Yeah, well, obviously, as an intellectual, he's studied a lot more than I have. I come at it from the perspective of a politician who's about to go around regional New Zealand giving speeches, the first one in Nelson tomorrow, and someone who came from the fishing industry, an industry that uses a lot of power, was the chairman of Sea Lords. So lots of companies are saying to me, look, Shane, whether or not the theoreticians believe you're right or wrong, when companies are telling you power is too expensive in New Zealand to continue operating businesses in New Zealand, then to me that's a major alarm bell.
So what's the fix? Is there a legislative fix you can do quite quickly, or is it a bit more involved in terms of the way we source our energy anyway?
Well, whichever way you cut it, whether it happens this year or next year, believe you me, there's going to be a legislative fix. Sadly, I'm not the minister. It's something that New Zealand First campaigned on. In the past, Helen Clark effected an operational separation in the telecom industry. There is a statutory code that could be amended to rein in the excessive behaviour of the gentailers. They own the vast majority of customers in New Zealand. I have no idea what's the transfer pricing between the two of them. I don't want to bore your listeners with sort of tedious details. So there is a statutory set of changes that can be made. I'm fast-tracking a piece of legislation, or I'm sponsoring with Mr. Bishop the fast-track to make more energy capacity available. We're looking at options as to how we get more oil and gas drilled in the very, very short term.
Yeah.
I'm working with Minister Judith Collins on an option as to how the Crown can expedite the accessing of deep-seated geothermal energy, in the volcanic plateau. But unless we curtail the behaviour of the gentailers over the next 15 to 24 months, it's going to be a hell of a rocky year in the election year.
What about the role of the opposition with this? Because no government's in forever. There's always going to be a change, and we've seen there's that unsettled feeling within investors in drilling for gas and things because Labor outlawed it, didn't they? So don't we need a bipartisan approach to this stuff?
Yeah, fair cop to the ACT Party when they said, well, why don't we go for a shared understanding as to how we bring resilience and steadiness to the electricity market. But in my personal view, the worst energy minister in my lifetime wasn't Mass Bradford, it's actually Megan Woods. Megan Woods acquiesced with the closing down of the gas and oil industry. She did promote a big pumped hydro scheme in the South Island, but look, mate, it wasn't going to come into being for another 6, 7, 10 years because it takes that long to get anything done in New Zealand. We have known for a long period of time that we do not have enough power being produced to cope with volatile weather. We are now relying at the margin on coal coming in from Indonesia. This is not a new problem. The gentailers have not wanted to solve this problem because they have felt that it's not their job to look after the resilience of the nation or the national interests of the nation. That's what politicians are paid to do. And this is one politician who's not going to walk away from that challenge.
Hey, so one of the big headlines has been over the years that we're not trucking and shipping all this coal in from Indonesia. Where are you at with where we get our coal? Because you can imagine politically it feels uncomfortable to be saying, right, we're going to start digging our own coal up. But where are you at with that?
Well, we currently do dig our own coal up. It's coking coal, and it goes overseas, and it's tremendously lucrative. And it, by and large, is sent out of Littleton. We do use a wee bit of coal that is processed here in New Zealand, but the reason why investors won't restart our coal industry is because it's regarded as a dirty fossil fuel in the context of climate change decarbonisation. And if you start a coal mine in New Zealand for generating domestic energy and the government changes, you're likely to have your licence taken away from you, as Jacinda Ardern did with the oil and gas industry. That's why people are unwilling to spend the capital, take the risk, and maintain a domestic coal industry for domestic power generation. Thus, we're reliant on Indonesian coal, which is a lot cheaper, and there's so much of it at the margin. We represent only a beauty spot in terms of the amount of coal that they sell internationally.
Well, that brings us back to the bipartisan issue, doesn't it? Have you had any sort of sense of whether Labor might be willing to be a bit more pragmatic on this from your point of view?
I think that unless Labor is more pragmatic, they'll never govern again. Historically, they were a party that stood with the natural resources mining sector. Due to identity politics and flaky climate thinking, they've long since lost their roots. So, in my view, they're trying to outgreen the Greens, and we will never see them back in power ever again until such time they take a robust, grown-up attitude to energy resilience. The Greens' major proposal, as I understand, is to put solar panels on everyone's houses. I mean, in fairness to the Greens, the Aussies did do that. But, we only have to look at what happened to the Conservatives in the UK to understand what is the potent impact on politicians when energy policies go awry.
Hey, look, I really appreciate your time. Just quickly, at the end of the Olympics, you've been spending a little bit of time in front of the telly?
Yeah, of course I have. And I wasn't quite the fairy tale finish with Carrington and Fisher, but I love the fact that the younger Fisher showed a great deal of class and respect for our dame.
Yeah, she did describe her pretty well. She's just magnificent, isn't she? I'm just pleased that you survived that rugby match I saw a week or two ago.
And I'm still wandering around with a bit of a sore back. I wasn't on there for long. I was on there for long enough to realise that as Winston Peters says to me, Shane, you were fairly average at rugby in your 30s. You have not got any better in your 60s. So I make a promise to your listeners, the matua will not be falling for such sort of a long-lost youthful vanity again.
Good on you. Hey, look, I really appreciate your time this afternoon, Shane. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Sweet. See you later, mate. Bye.